button at the bottom is zoom. And if you hit that, it opens up the window, and that'll give me the ability to do that. But let's just get rolling, and I will see you guys in just a sec after the video is done. Go ahead, April. This is the homepage I'm talking about that we just like recently redid, and I think it does a really good job articulating sort of who we are, what we do at a very high level. And if you scroll down the page, there's a bunch of videos and me explaining a whole bunch of things, everything that we do from top to bottom. But our tagline, which states everything that you need to start, run, and grow a successful art business, really does sum up what we do. We get pigeonholed as they're a website company. They're a website company, and yes, we do offer websites, but it is a tiny, tiny portion of what we do. Ultimately, we learned a couple of years ago, the hard way, by the way, if we are going to grow and be successful as a business, art storefronts, that is 100% dependent. Surprise, this one, much art and photography our customers are selling on a yearly basis. And so when you look at that as the problem that we're solving, it becomes so much more than a website, because a website is not enough. But still, we're going to talk about the website. I'm going to get into the other layers as we go down. So it does indeed all start with the website. I will pull one up because it'll make it more interactive. And, you know, anyone that's been attempting to sell art or photography for any period of time, I'll use Bono today, they know one thing conclusively: selling art in an e-commerce capacity digitally online is not like selling other items. It's not like selling bags or electric scooters or bicycles or anything else, right? Buying art, okay, and buying art online is A, an extremely visual process, and B, an extremely friction filled process. And what do I mean by friction? I mean, friction is all of the various different things, okay, that will prevent a visitor to your website from turning into a buyer, okay? And so really everything that we do with our software is attempt to solve for this friction, okay? To solve for the friction, to solve for how important the visual aspects are towards selling art and photography online. And it's never any one feature. It's all of the features working together. It can be little things like when you select a media type, which is canvas, it changes to a canvas, a gallery wrapped canvas. Most people don't even know what a canvas is. And so we've developed special videos that show the differences, the nuances in the real world, what an actual canvas print looks like, what's going to show up at their house, what are the high points of this one, is canvas different than metal. Oops, I missed a click on that. And so you can see what a metal print looks like and how it's sitting flat, eventually how it's hanging up, all the nuances, the intricacies, because it is such a visual process buying art. We have a feature called the wall preview, which allows you to cycle through various different room types. Again, such a visual process buying art. Not only can you circle through the different room types, and yes, you can add your own room type images in. We use some generic ones by design, and you can size pieces up and down, see what it's going to look like. Do I need a 36 by 49? Is that too big? Do I instead want a 28 by 38? We're making it easier for your potential customer to get to a buying decision. What if they want to, their walls aren't white, right? What if they're this ugly color? Or there's something a little bit darker. Is the piece going to look good with this color, right? Because again, buying art is just such an incredibly visual process. Another feature that everybody likes to talk about that we get a lot of plaudits for is
Here we
we
are
have
on
this feature,
artist and art
excuse
store.
me, mute that, called live preview with AR, okay? And what this is this allows somebody to come to your website with their telephone, can be iPhone or Android. You can see the phones here on the right-hand side. And without downloading any apps, they can just use their phone, their camera, and press one button on your website that says live preview. And what this is going to do, it's going to take the camera on their phone, okay, which is going to show the real room, the real wall, where the art will potentially go. And then it takes your piece in augmented reality and it projects it onto the wall. And you're able to move it around with your finger. You're able to size it up, size it down, take screenshots. And so is it going to look great in the room? What size do I need to get, right? And so again, this is attempting to solve for the visual friction of, I don't know if it's going to work in my room. I don't know what it's going to look like, right? It's just getting them one step closer to a buying decision, removing the friction from the process. And, you know, I've been doing e-commerce marketing, digital marketing my entire life. Everyone loves to gravitate towards the wall preview or the live preview with AR. But the reality is when you do this for any period of time, it's not about one individual feature. It's about all the features working in conjunction, and you never know which one's going to end up. If we think of a sports analogy like a basketball team, it's how many players you have on the court that can contribute, right, to eventually scoring that basket. And so it's why we do the demo process. We have literally hundreds and hundreds of features, all to remove the friction, all to help you get better at selling art and photography online. And when you request one of these things, our outreach team will reach out, have a conversation with you, and schedule it. It goes like an hour and 10 minutes, and we just go through feature after feature after feature. So it's not about any one of them. It's about all of them working in conjunction. Independent of that, let's keep working down the page. So we also have a ton of back-end software. It turns out running in our business, art photography business, there's a ton of individual little nuance and things that can slow you down, okay? Things like uploading an image and how many images do you have to upload to your web page for all the various different media sizes and types you have. It's very helpful to be able to just upload one, have all the sizes auto-populate for you, and tell you exactly what you can sell. Things like markups. How do you set markups? Can you do it globally? Can you do it per media type, right? And so no one likes to talk about the back end features, but we have a slew of those as well, all there to make your life easier, to give you time back, okay? Let's talk about our fulfillment. And we love talking about this. This is in our company DNA pretty significantly, but I'll pull up a website. So we're on Bill Stidham's site. Or I should probably start here, actually. So we are integrated. Well, let me start here. You can have it any which way you like. If you're an artist that just does originals and you get orders, obviously you're going to be responsible for fulfilling the originals because you have them. If you're an artist that has a local printer or a photographer that has a local printer, you really like using your printer, you can use your printer. The orders come in, you send the order to your printer. We call that self-fulfillment, no problem. What we recommend our customers do, though, is integrate with one of our print partners. I'll get into the reasons why, but we've got Graphic Dimensions on the East Coast. We've got Bay Photo on the West Coast. We've got Print Partner for our customers in Canada. And then we just recently integrated with a company called Guten that handles the merchandise. And I'll get into that in a second. How does it work? You sign up. You get your site set up, which usually takes 14 days or less. You click a button. It says, I want to integrate with this print partner. An order comes into the website. The printer gets paid. You get paid. The order gets printed. The order gets boxed. Your logo goes on the side of the box. Boom, it ships to the customer. You touch absolutely nothing. There's nothing you have to touch, nothing you have to do. All happens automatically. And again, it's to give you back that amount of time. And, no one has time in today's day and age to be dealing with the admin, okay? Any time that you spend on the admin, by which I mean sending the order to your local printer, checking on the proof, sending tracking numbers, did it ship, any of that correspondence, all of that, if you're spending your time on that, is time you are not spending on your biggest problem, which is your marketing. So we really believe like streamlining sort of this drop shipping, print on demand, automated fulfillment is a very, very wise decision if you want to create successful artists and photographers. Now, just recently, this was probably like a month before Christmas maybe, we integrated with a company called Guten. And what it allows our customers to do is sell merchandise of a myriad of different kinds. Hoodies, iPhone cases, tank tops. They can come in, adjust the image exactly how they want to see it. Maybe they want to tilt it depending on what case it is, and get iPhone cases and a number of different other items. We've got throw pillows and I clicked out of it, and coffee mugs, and we're adding more and more and more and more of these. And on the subject of merch, we realize, again, if you go back to our original mission, why we exist, we need to create a set of circumstances, a set of conditions such that the artist, the photographer can make and grow as successful a business as they want. And so some artists look at this merch and they're like, they turn their noses up at it and like, that's not fine art. Why would I ever want to do that? Some are like, I'm all in, I love it. We don't care. Our job is to provide as many different opportunities for artists and photographers to be successful as possible. And we've been totally blown away by how much of this stuff actually, believe it or not, sells. And some of it is higher margin than you would think. Like a throw pillow is $44, and what does a tote bag cost? I think a tote bag costs $38. So sell it or not, you have every opportunity imaginable available to you. If you want to have it all, in kind of like Bill does here on his site, where you have your fine art media types across the top, and then you have the merch all in one product page, great. If you want to have individual items in the store, you want to have your artwork, fine, and then you just want to have a line of phone cases. If you want to have one for a couple of weeks and then turn it off, You can do any and all of that, and it's one click to turn it on at any point in time. It's automated. It's completely automated in terms of fulfillment, and that's not going to change. And we realize again, like artists and photographers are essentially just creators, right? You're just creators, and you have a talent. You have a talent with a brush, or you have a talent with a lens. You want to monetize that talent, okay? So again, our job is to give you as many different opportunities to be able to monetize that talent as possible. So that's how we go about it. And again, it's a debate about when to use it or when not. But somebody on one of these sessions earlier was like, who's the greatest rock band of all time? I was like, no, who? He's like, the Rolling Stones. He goes, guess what the Rolling Stones have at their concerts? I said, what? A giant booth for merch. He's like, they sell hundreds of thousands of dollars of it a year. If the Stones sell it, I'll sell it. So anyway, I thought that kind of stuck with me. It was fun. So that's our print fulfillment. And I should say too that we're adding calendars and we're adding puzzles and we are adding photo books. And to be honest with you, if they come out with a line of hot air balloons, we'll add hot air balloons too, right? Because again, it's creating a set of circumstances such that the artist and photographer can be successful. We don't care where the success comes from. I don't care if Brian gets into business and he's the #1 iPhone selling case guy of the entire United States. He's got a successful business, right? So not for us to decide. Support. We believe we have best-in-class support. If you took a look at our Facebook ads and you scrolled through the 350 of them, you'll see more positive responses for the support than just about anything else. We're very, very good at this. Yes, it's in all the venues you think it is, email, phone, chat support. But in addition to that, kind of what I'm most proud about is we run 6 days a week, including Saturdays, Zoom sessions, just like the one you're on right now, okay? And you can pop into one at any point in time with any support-related issue and get fixed, get unstuck. There's screen shares. They can take over control of your computer and just get you sorted instantaneously. So we're very, very good at it. Not only do we support our application, we ask you guys, we teach you guys marketing all year long, and which I'll get into in a second. What if you're having a problem with Facebook or with Instagram or with MailChimp or with your Facebook ads? We actually support that too. You can pop into a Zoom session and say, hey, Patrick, I'm stuck on my Facebook ads. I'm getting this message. Can you help me? And our team will get you unstuck. That's an amazing thing. There's not many companies that do that, so I'm very, very proud about that. That's in terms of the overall website picture. And we essentially do all of that, okay, to give you your time back such that you can work on the biggest problem that every single solitary person on this Zoom call has, which is the marketing problem. You need to get better at it. And let me tell you, I've got 4,700 customers, and there's only one universal truth about every one of them, right? Every niche imaginable, every subject matter, all over this country and others, every one of them has a marketing problem. The person that just passed $500,000 a year in sales has a marketing problem. They want to grow that business, they have a marketing problem. The person that just is getting started, sold their first piece, they have a marketing problem, and everybody in between, right? It is the biggest problem. And so, we want to create successful customers. We realize we need to teach artists and photographers how to market. And so how did we solve for that particular problem? We created collectively what might as well be called the Art Business University. That's how we look at it, because I'm not sure there's a better term to explain it. One, we have the best digital education that exists in terms of selling art and photography online, full stop. I'm hang my hat on this. We have detailed documentation that we call playbooks on every marketing facet imaginable. How to run an email campaign, how to run a Black Friday sale, how to go live on Instagram, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time with your laptop on a cell phone. Detailed, step-by-step, audio, video, screenshot documentation. If we're asking you to send emails, we will give you the email copy. You just adjust it to taste for what you're doing. So the playbooks are incredible. They're very robust, and they're very focused on teaching you how to market. We pair that with a 365-day-a-year marketing calendar, okay? It has on it beginner, intermediate, and advanced. You take on what you can take on. You're never not knowing what you need to be doing on a week-in, week-out basis. You start doing, first, you're overwhelmed. You're like, I've never done this. This is crazy. How am I going to survive? And then you fight through it, and you got through the beginner level. And then you take on the intermediate, and then you take on the advanced. The majority of our customers follow this doggone near verbatim year in, year out, because it works. It's effective. Not only does it tell you what to do, but it solves for one of the other greatest pandemic of our lifetime, the shiny object syndrome, okay? Not only does the calendar tell you what to do, it tells you what not to do, okay? What not to be spending your time on, right? And how do I know this? One, I'm very good at digital marketing. Two, we have 4,700 customers and I get to see all of their data. I can tell everyone on this call conclusively, out of the 4,700 customers that I have not seen anyone turn a positive ROI out of marketing on Pinterest. No one is making any money from marketing on Pinterest. So I'm going to tell you, you don't have to worry about Pinterest. I see you laughing, Mary. I do not want you spending any time on Pinterest, period. Waste of time. So too with SEO, okay? So the calendar is equally powerful on what you need to focus on is what you ignore, okay? Is what you ignore, and that's a big deal. Number 3 of the Art Business University is what we call office hours, okay? We take the entire customer base, we split it into 3. Until you sell $2,000 directly on your website, you're in the advanced group, which we call growth.
Sorry about
we
that,
hold
guys.
week in, week out, every single solitary week. And we took 1 week off for New Year's, but essentially 48, 49 weeks a year. Zoom calls like this. You come on a weekly basis. It's either me or members of my team. We go over the playbooks. We go over the calendars. We talk about wins. Somebody landed an interior decorator and sold $35,000 worth. They're going to come on and tell their story. Not only are they going to come on and tell their story, they're going to say, here's the email that did it. Here's the copy. Here's the Facebook post. And you can go and look at that stuff, right? And you're learning in concert with your peers. Digital online education is not enough, okay? If you look at the stats out there, I don't care who it is, Kajabi or Masterclass or lynda.com, 30% of the people that buy those courses actually finish them. So we can't just have digital education. We have to have in-person teaching sessions, and everyone knows how to Zoom now. It's our new reality. So those sessions, which we started like, I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of the pandemic, have been the single solitary biggest fundamental change to our business we've ever had. If before the pandemic, I had 100 customers, and I told those 100 customers via email, guys, Black Friday's coming. You got to get going on your sale. Here's the playbook, right? And then I recorded a podcast episode, and I was like, we're going to do this. 35 out of the 100 would take action. After these video sessions where I'm able to go through things, people are able to ask their questions, raise their hands, get unstuck, learn your peers. I have 75 people taking action on that sale, and it's fundamentally changing the business. It is making our customers more successful, more accountable, actually staying focused. Like, look, you guys are all solopreneurs for the most part. I mean, we could pull this entire group, and not a lot of you guys have a big team. You don't have an office behind you where you're yelling at an intern to help you out. You are a solopreneur, okay? You know, myself, the CEO, we've been entrepreneurs our entire life. I know it's a roller coaster. I know there's highs and the lows. When you're on those lows, you need a kick in the pants, right? You need to be lifted up sometimes, and that's what these Zoom sessions do too, which is incredible. We follow it up with a Facebook group that is highly curated. Okay, there's no trolls, there's no nonsense in there, right? You've seen some of the other groups out there online and how ridiculous it gets in those things. And artists are sharing with other artists, photographers are sharing with other photographers, the people that are in the landscape niche are talking to others in the landscape niche. Hey guys, what do you think of this new direction? What did you use in terms of pricing? They're publishing their wins. And so sometimes you can't just hear it from us, the official company mouthpiece. And so it's nice to have a whole bunch of people that are doing this same journey at the same time, helping each other out, sharing, what are you doing here? What are you doing there? So that collectively is the Art Business University. And it's like a college. It really is. And the difference is you pay your tuition, you come in, and there's no graduates because the learning never stops, right? And, you know, in addition to that, it never will stop. In today's digital marketing landscape, the goalposts are just constantly moving, right? Like so quickly, you feel like you just learned something and it moves over here. So we keep you up to date with all of that. As a final, about 6 months ago, or maybe 5 months ago now, we started an in-house marketing agency. And it's an in-house marketing agency that only does one thing. It helps artists and photographers sell more art online and off. And we believe already, as of today's date, it's the biggest sole-focused art and photography marketing agency in the world. And that's not hyperbole. I've been asking on these calls, can someone name me an agency that specializes only in helping artists and photographers sell their work? I haven't found one. No one's ever put one in the chat for me, especially not a big one. Why? Because my aforementioned point, selling art and photography is not like selling swim fins or ladies' handbags or scooters. It's hard, right? It's really hard. And we're good at it because we've been working at it for a long time. Also, you know, I get upset, right? Because I look at all of you guys as like, you own a McDonald's, right? And if you owned a McDonald's, you have to know how to do the ordering. You have to know how to clean the floors. You have to know how to open the building. You have to know how to operate the drive-through window. You have to be able to flip burgers and fries and do all of that and do the ordering, right? Like, it's your business. You need to understand those things. But at the same time, I'm not naive in the sense that 80% of our customers still have full-time jobs, or in some capacity. Maybe they're service-based photographers and they're trying to sell their fine art. So I get it. You need to be able to have the ability. If you don't have the time to do the marketing and you have the resources, you need a la carte things that you can jump off the shelf. Hey guys, I need my Instagram profile tuned up. I need my Facebook page tuned up. I need to help with a sales campaign. You need to be able to do that sometimes. In addition to things like, we'll completely build your website for you. You don't want to do that. You hate building websites. Your fears in life, in order, are death, taxes, and building another website. I get that. Right? So you can drop your images in a folder. Tell us to build the site. We'll build the site for you. Okay. We'll manage your Facebook ads. Okay. We will manage all of your social posting. And again, it goes back to the top premise. Like, our job is to create successful customers. And so we looked at it 6 months ago, and it's like, we need to have an agency. And then some people are like, well, I want to do it myself. Fantastic. Our job is to have the best DIY product, do it yourself, learn, come on the sessions, and then also have an agency where you can pay. And again, it's a la carte, or it's, up almost full service. And the amazing thing about it is, I've been doing marketing a long time, right? What do all marketers love? A case study. Oh, we love a case study, right? With the sexy data about this huge win, and we publish it on social media and we use it for lead generation. So totally did that all the time. Okay. Guilty, and if you lose, you don't publish it, right? You wait till you hit a winner and do all that. But it used to be, I would go and run a case study with a customer, and, I'd have limited bandwidth to do that. And then we would build the playbooks. Well, guess what I have now? I've got agency staff. I've got one guy that all he does all day long is spruce up Instagram pages for artists and photographers. He did 65 of them last week, or probably 65 last month. So imagine the learnings that we're getting. What happens is the learnings are going right back into the playbooks, and then they're coming onto the Zoom sessions and they're teaching, and we've got a little flywheel going on, right? We've got a little artist and photographer education flywheel. So it doesn't matter if you ever order a single solitary service from the agency, and we don't even care if the agency ever makes any money, in all honesty, because all it does is just improves the product, makes more successful customers, and helps us grow. So we really, at the end of the day, are fundamentally a business that can be thought of as a rowboat, right? It takes our oar, your oar, we jump in the boat in the same time, and if we can get that thing rowing in the same direction, the faster we can get that going, the better everybody does. So that's Art Storefronts in a nutshell. That's my presentation. Sorry about the crappy audio on that. That was totally my fault, my side of the equation. I had something turned on that I shouldn't have. So sorry if that was hard to hear. So if you need me to repeat anything or go over it again, I certainly can. We're growing pretty quickly as a company right now. And, a lot of that is circumstantially, because all of the, in-person ways to sell art or photography are not so easy anymore. But one of the things that we pride ourselves in is constantly getting better and learning and doing new things. And there's this guy, Clayton Christensen, who wrote a book, and it's called like Jobs to Be Done, right? And you're supposed to always be thinking, your customer, your potential customer has a job that they're actually hiring you to do, right? And be thinking that way, and you build a better business. It's a framework, At the end of the day, the job to be done that you're really trying to hire us for is to sell more art and photography. But I'm now more convinced than ever, because 2 months ago or 2.5 months ago, we started offering the service where we build the website for you, so you don't have to do anything. We build it for you. You literally take your images, your About Me section, your logo, you drop that all in a folder, and we just build it and do it for you. And I'm now sort of more convinced than anything that is actually the first job to be done that you guys are trying to hire people for, because nobody ever wants to build a website. That is like the most stressful thing to even contemplate. Many of you have done it on this platform or the other, and you're like, oh, I just don't ever want to do that again. So that's sort of been an interesting learning. I think we built, 40 last month. So people just didn't even touch anything. They just had the entire thing built. They didn't want to look at anything. They didn't want to do it. They just want to have their website, be done with it, and get on to the next level, which is, a fascinating thing to contemplate. So there's the Jobs to Be Done framework. Independent of everything else, we've really been ramping up our education recently too. And, on the pre-recorded video, you hear me talk about like, oh, the Art Business University. We don't know a better name to call it than that. We sort of like decided on that, but when you sign up with us, if you were to sign up with us, it's like, enrolling yourself in graduate school for art and photography marketing and how to run an art and photography business. And the education piece is rapidly turning out to be like the most important thing that we do. And so we started out teaching all the various different aspects of marketing, how to run a sale, how to do email campaigns, how to post to the socials, how to have a live art show, how to think about pricing, teaching all of those things. And we've since really expanded our net. We're essentially trying to make the Art Business University, which is, we can get into it if you want to ask questions about it, but it's in-person Zoom teachings, it's do-it-yourself, learn at your own pace education, and we have the playbooks that teach you how to do all the things. Anyway, beside the point, we've started empowering our customers because we have enough of them now that it's really interesting. And, for instance, we have one gal that figured out how to license an image, and she did some artwork of these images. It was a college mascot, actually, and she sold several $100,000s of art by doing this. And so she comes on and she teaches Image Licensing 101. Here's how you can approach the image licensing conversation. Here's what the legal contracts look like. Here's what you can expect this and expect that. And so she taught that class. We have another guy who's a landscape photographer in the southwestern U.S., East Texas, actually, and he is the master of selling his work into commercial institutions, banks in particular. His work like hanging in like 15, 20 banks throughout the Southwest. So he taught a class on how to get your work into commercial entities such as banks and hotels. And so we're just going to keep adding and adding and adding and adding these sessions on every single solitary marketing, pricing, mindset, all of it, such that we want to eventually become quite literally the YouTube of art or the Netflix of art and photography marketing. And it's an education that starts and it never stops because, I know conclusively, and I said this in my little like intro pitch, that every single solitary person on this Zoom call, Russ, Ken, Jim, Mark, Sage, all of you guys need more attention. You need more eyeballs on your art. The biggest problem you have in your business currently is a marketing problem. It's not anything else. And that never changes. It doesn't change for the customers that we have that are approaching the $1 million a year in revenue. No, it's not a lot, but there are a few. They have a marketing problem. The ones that are at mid six figures have a marketing problem. The ones that are knocking on the six figure a year door have a problem. And the ones that have not sold a single solitary piece have a marketing problem. We all do. We live in an era, in an age where attention is the scarce commodity, and it's what all of you guys need to get your art, get your photography in front of more eyeballs, and have the ability to sell more and build a business to the ambitions that you have. So that's it for me on my rants. I would love to open it up to questions. How do you do that? If your camera's on and you want to do the old-fashioned, old-school, raise your hand like that. Hey, I have a question. I'll see it, and that's fine. But there's a participants button at the bottom of the Zoom window, and what that'll allow you to do is raise your hand digitally. It like puts a little hand icon up, and that'll let me know that you have a question. Don't feel if you have a question like you need to turn your camera on if you don't want to. I hate being on video. I totally understand that. All good. But if your camera is on, we'd obviously love to see your face. And then I know some of you are throwing questions in the chat, so I will answer those as well. And if you guys are shy, don't worry. I will poke and prod. I will needle you guys. What is your question? The Q&A part is the funnest, the funnest part of this whole thing. And there's a great, learning from other artists and photographers and their problems, I think is a great way to go. So I'm going to start with Camilla. Camilla's saying, do you have your own payment solution integrated, or does an artist pay for that separately? And I'll unmute you, Camilla. You don't have to talk if you don't want to, but I'll unmute you, and you can, if you want to hit the mic icon in the bottom left, and I'll start explaining. So we use a company called Stripe, Camilla, and it's basically like the biggest e-commerce. I mean, it's $1 billion company. It's crazy. And you sign up for the merchant account. The merchant account is connected directly to your bank account, and we are not involved in that process at all. So an order comes in, you get paid. Stripe processes the transaction. You pay a normal credit card transaction fee, which is the same that every merchant in the world pays, and then the money goes directly into your account.
Okay, thank you. And that's the only one that you have integrated with?
No, we do PayPal too, but the problem with PayPal is it's just not as good and not as inexpensive as Stripe. Stripe has a number of benefits just given the size of it. So pretty much 99% of our customers just do Stripe usually. But why? Which one did you have in mind?
No. I was really curious because I've been looking around and it's jungle out there when it comes to those.
It's totally a jungle. It's not even a jungle. It's like, I always use the golf club analogy, which is like, you know, if let's just say you weren't working with art storefronts and you were somewhere else, the payment accounts are sort of like, you know, golf clubs. Like, you need to have an entire bag full depending on what the situation is, right? Like, if you're selling in person, it's really helpful to have Square and have that little like credit card slider, right? And then if you want to take orders, payment via PayPal and Venmo, despite the fact it's the same company, you sort of need to have that. And then if you're transacting commerce on your website, you know, you need to have some sort of a merchant provider there too. So trust me, I feel you on that one is where I was going. It is. It's a jungle out there. But Stripe makes it really, really easy, and it's mega competitive in terms of the rates that you pay. It's like, you know, it's the same that every merchant pays essentially.
Yeah, it seems like it's fairly across the board. It's pretty much the same for what you want.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, my pleasure. Thank you. Okay, Linda says, so how does this work fee-wise? You said a full service or a la carte. I believe, Linda, that you're talking about the agency. I'm going to unmute you too, Linda. Maybe you can clarify in the question a little bit, because it sounds like the questions you're asking are, and to talk, Linda, you have to hit the microphone icon. It's like in the bottom left-hand corner of your computer. And then that'll unmute you, and I can tell you when I get you. I thought I had you there for a second. Maybe Linda can figure out how to unmute. But let me just keep going in the question. Bottom line, what do we need to get started? How much to sign up? How much for our a la carte items? I like the idea of different levels. If we have the website and it's not working, can you tweak it to improve it, or do you want to start out from scratch? Okay, there's a whole bunch of different questions in there. So can you use your existing website and just sign up for art storefronts? Yes, technically you could. There's sort of like 3 different ways to do it, right? There's keep your current website, in which case all you're really paying for is just the marketing, right? The marketing advice and all of that. Or let's say you have lindavoita.com or lindavoitaart.com. You could do what's called a subdomain. We call it a bolt-on. And so you could do store.lindavoitaart.com, and then you could have the art storefronts install sit there. Or you could, you know, ditch your old site and point it at your art storefront site. Pretty much everyone that, well, some people have like a blog that they've had for like 15 years and they love their blog and they don't want to get rid of their blog, in which case you can do store dot and then keep your blog where it is. That's totally fine. But we have a lot of our best marketing features sort of baked into the website. And I always give this one example because I enjoy it, and it's not straightforward, and I think my analogy does a good job of it. We have this thing called Art Buyer AI, right? It's a snazzy title. The way I like to explain it is, let's say, Linda, that your store, your website was the Apple Store. Everybody gets the Apple Store. Most people have been into an Apple Store, right? Art Buyer AI is essentially a video camera that sits in the upper corner of the store and watches everything that takes place in your store. And so let's say I walk into Linda's store and I look at an iPhone and I play with the iPhone for a second. I set it down. Then I go and look at an iPad. I play with the iPad for a second and then I set it down. Then I go and play with the MacBook Air, same thing, set it down. Then I buy the iPhone and then I leave. Our system detects my behavior, my activity in your store. And the minute that I leave, you'll get a notification on the back end and it'll say, Linda, Patrick a first-time customer just walked into your store and bought the iPhone. We saw that he also looked at the iPad and that he also looked at the MacBook Air. Here's the suggested email text we recommend you send him. And a little box pops up in your back end and it says, the text is already pre-populated. It says, hey, Patrick, thank you so much for your first-time order. I can't wait to ship you your brand new iPhone. I can't help but notice you also checked out the iPad and the MacBook Air. I just wanted to let you know, because you're a first-time customer, we offer an additional first-time customer bonus where you're able to bundle 3 items at a time and get an extra percentage off. So if that's something that you'd love to talk about, I'd just respond to this email and we can get into it. Otherwise, thank you so much for your order. Let me know when it arrives. And you can edit the text or you can do nothing and just hit send, right? So that's one of 55 different features like that are built into our web software that are probably not built into your web software. And so, if you make the investment to come aboard, I don't want you to get into the fight with one arm behind your back, right? Like, why wouldn't you want to have those additional features in there? But I get it, right? Like, a lot of people are thousands of dollars and several years into their existing website. Like, to contemplate changing that is like to contemplate moving, right? Like, are you telling me I have to box things up and throw things away and then load everything in the car and move? Like, it's stressful. I get that. I totally get that. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I'm
Anyway.
actually okay with the new website. So there would be a way to, if somebody did go to the old website, they could be directed to the new website.
Yes. So there's a couple ways to do it. And let me start by asking you some questions. How long have you had the domain, and, are you getting regular visits there now?
No, we aren't getting regular visits, and we've had it for about 4 years.
If you've had it for about 4 years. Okay. So, would you take, what is the domain, by the way, just so I have it in my name, it'll make it, is it lindavoita.com or Linda Art? What is it, the URL?
We have two,
You have two.
Steve Voita at stevevoita.com.
Mm-hmm.
My husband is also an artist. So that was another question I was going to have.
Yep.
If we have like a gallery of sorts, can you have more than one artist in there? Or what
Absolutely.
do you have?
Absolutely. And I love it when it's a husband and wife situation, especially. Let me answer the first question, and then I'll come back and I'll get the second one, right? So,
Sure.
If you've owned those domains for a number of years, right? And
Correct.
The older you have a domain, the more Google likes it. It gets additional levels of trust with each year that you've owned it. So what I would recommend you do is you own everything with us. We don't own anything. It's all the artists. And so you own those domains, right? And so what you would do is you would just go into your GoDaddy account. Let's say that's where they live, and they might live somewhere else. And you would say, instead of pointing to your current website, point to your new art storefronts website. And that's it. You could potentially point them back to the old ones for any reason later, but that's what you would do. And then, rather than starting from scratch with a brand new URL, you're at least starting with the established ones. And so anyone that had a link to those sites or anyone that visited those sites would automatically get redirected to your new one. So that's how I would recommend you do that. And especially if you've got the older sites, even if it doesn't drive a ton of traffic, you've been around the block for a while, right? And so Google knows you a little bit better, and you might as well not lose that. That's number one. Number two, the hardest thing to do in today's day and age is to get attention, right? As I referenced earlier, to get eyeballs. And so if a husband and wife team up, I would 100% recommend you do it in a gallery type of relationship where you're both just in there, your art's in there and his art's in there.
Okay.
The reason I do that is because, again, attention is the scarcest resource. It's so hard to get that when you guys are combined, it's a great arrangement. I have a great deal of trepidation when someone comes in and says, "Hey, I want to do this co-op style gallery where I'm going to start the website and I'm going to represent 6 or 7 other artists, and we're going to do it in a co-op style." And to me, it's like, one marriage is hard enough as is, right? Husband and wife.
Yes, sir.
When you're married to like 7 or 8 people.
As a veteran of 37 years, yes, sir.
Could you imagine being married to 7 or 8 people? Like, that is a recipe for disaster. You got to be extremely adept at communication to make that work. And if you do make that work, please teach me, because it's hard, right? So because you're husband and wife, if 1 month your husband does way more marketing than you do, is it going to be World War III? No, it's going to be all good, right? Because you're husband and wife. So yeah, I love putting that together. I love that idea.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's a good question. Okay, Kristen's asking, how long does it take to get a new website set up? We usually get people live in 14 days or less. That's if you have, some technical acumen, i.e. you built a website before. Some people really try to drag it out, and we really scream and yell at them in the nicest way possible, because, it's very easy to get the website up right away. And, we all have this mentality that, sort of like it's a house, and you have to build the entire house and have the entire thing done, and then you can open the door and go in. Absolutely not. You can build a room and go inside, okay? As long as you have an electrical outlet in there, you're ready to move in. The website can be an iterative process over time, and it will be an iterative process over time. So you got to get that store open as soon as possible, and then go from there. Linda also asked, how does Stripe disperse money to the printer. So essentially what happens is the order comes in, a certain amount is due to the printer for whatever the service is. That instantaneously goes to them. The money instantaneously goes to you. That all happens at the same time. We're not involved in that transaction in the slightest, or middlemen in or anything like that. So that's how it works. Anita is asking, please tell me how to join. What we do is we do the demo process, and the reason that we do that is because there's so many bells and whistles and features and everything else. If you request a demo, what happens is someone from our outreach team calls you. It's like a 10 to 15 minute phone call. You can get all the details on pricing, bells, whistles, this, that, the other. They'll find out some information about you, where you are in your career, see whether or not it's a good fit. If it is, then they schedule the full demo, which to see all the bells and whistles of everything, it goes like an hour. So that's a much longer process. Okay, Phillip, you've got your hand up. You're up next. What is your question, Phillip? Are you there? You have to unmute.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was said what I learned is I should create art to help people solve their problems.
Okay.
And I was thinking, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I was thinking about drawing in. This is just an example, by the way. I was thinking about drawing an unborn baby in the mother's womb to show the start of a journey before it begins.
Okay. Are you asking me whether or not I think that's a good idea, or you're asking business advice? I can't tell.
Kind of bit of both, but anyway, it could represent the start of a journey before it begins.
Yeah.
And also on the art boss formula, I learned how to about inviting. Maybe I could do a short live video to invite people to my group.
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely can, Phillip. And I actually remember, you've been on before. You've got lots of good ideas, my friend. All you have to do is just start executing on them, right? I think everything is a good idea until you give it a shot, and you need to see whether or not it will sell and it will resonate with your audience. But I think those are all good ideas. Okay, Sage, you're asking about image resolution. I'm going to unmute you too. You'll hit the mic icon in the bottom left. I'll let you know when you get it. It's literally, it's like mouse to the bottom left-hand corner. Yeah, gotcha. What are you, an artist or photographer?
I'm an artist. I do watercolors, paintings, and I also have paper tapestries. But I wanted to ask a question about selling originals.
Okay.
On that thing. But in order to put the watercolors up, which could be put onto merchandise, could be put on, to the canvas and all the things that you have there.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of resolution do I need for you to work with?
Very good question. So, and this gives me the opportunity. So any of the links, by the way, that we mentioned in this thing, we're going to email to you afterwards. And so we've got a guy, two parts. I'm going to answer your question, two parts. We've got a guy who he's a customer that's had an entire career just photographing art for reproduction. And he wrote this like mega in-depth article for us that starts on the low end of the scale with the iPhone. It goes all the way up to drum scanning and then all the steps in between. So I'm going to send you that, which I think will just be a good read for your notification. Our system tells you immediately based on the quality of the image. And so I would just start with what you have, upload the image. Our machine will come back and say, Sage, based on the quality of this image, you can go this size of the biggest. What sizes do you want? And it'll list out all the sizes you can go. If you feel like you need higher resolution than that, then you would need to step up the quality of the images. But I would not worry about that up front, because what ends up happening time and time again is everyone's like, I'm just going to get started once I get all the work photographed and ready to go, right? As soon as I find a photographer, I'll get it all ready to go and going. And then the days turn into weeks, turn into months, turn into years, and nothing is up, right? Like, I don't care what quality photo you have. And people call me crazy for this, but like, I've learned my lesson the hard way for years and years and years. And I'm like the diehard marketer. I would literally take your phone camera. If you don't have let's just say you didn't have any images at all. I would take your phone camera, which are amazing. I would photograph it. I would get it up on the website. I would start working on my marketing immediately. I would wait until I got an order. When the order came in, you have a new order from Sage Reynolds. I'd be like, Sage, I have a favor to ask you. I'm in the process of getting all my work rephotographed so I can get a little bit bigger quality print style. And yours is slated to be photographed this next week. Can I ask you to just wait a week and I'll be ready to ship this thing? Would that be okay with you? Patrick, no problem. I'm happy to have it. If they fight a little bit, take off 10%. As soon as you get off the phone, run out, find the photographer, get the thing photographed, and then upload the image and then ship the order, right? Because the hardest thing to do is get the order. The easiest thing to do is everything else. So that's usually how I answer that.
Thank you.
And what you had a question about originals too?
The other way is about selling originals. Like I do these paper tapestries, and they're in frames. They have been in shows. They've been around, and they vary in size from probably about 20 by 17 to like 5 feet.
Wow. Okay.
In size.
Yeah.
And how do you handle selling those kind of things if the originals have to actually come from me?
Yeah. Sadly, we have not figured out a way to automate the shipping of those yet, which would be our magical robot showing up at your house, packing it and shipping it. So when the order comes in, you're responsible for shipping it, and that's how that works.
Okay, because like there are art shippers that will handle that kind of thing.
For sure.
Some of the things have glass in them, some have plexiglass. The larger ones have plexiglass, in the front. So. Yeah,
that is one of the unique crosses to bear that this industry brings is shipping, and especially shipping big originals. Right.
But now, if I were to have photographs of the tapestries made, could they be put into the merchandising sections?
Oh, all day long. And it's such a great way to market, right? Like, everyone has their different opinions, and I literally have some of it here, so I'm grabbing my little sled here. Bear with me. But it's like, we just brought it online, so I've been playing with it. So it's like, okay, there's a throw pillow, right? It's like, everyone looks at it like, am I going to sell 1 million throw pillows? Quite frankly, I don't care. I'm going to be like doing a live art show. Okay. For the first person that does such and such or leaves me an awesome comment, I'm throwing in a free throw pillow, right? Or the requisite tote bag, right? That goes along with it. Like, it's just helpful. It's helpful to have, or whether it's the greeting card, right? I actually have the whole stack here. I can actually flip through it.
And what about masks?
Yeah, and the puzzles, right? Like, ultimately, we're very curious to like sort of explore, what merch can bring to the table, right? And it's funny because I alluded earlier to. We're bringing customers in that have like specificity in certain things, like the gal with licensing, the guy with commercial. So we had one gal that I don't know if I should be, she's run the merchandise department for a massive national brand for some period of time, right? And she immediately came on board and she signed up. And we have people that are like taking every different approach. Like some have, there's the original, there's the prints, all the merch, all in one product page, right? What she did, which was really interesting, is that she just turned it into a gift shop. So she has all of her art in the art section, and then she has a gift shop, kind of like the museum gift shop. And I thought this was so smart. And then she's got the T-shirts and the pillows and like a couple of things in there, and she just treats it differently. She treats it like, a museum gift shop. And I'm like, fantastic, right? Because at the end of the day, the biggest problem you guys have, that we all have, is getting attention, right? It's just fact. There was like a social scientist that came up with a line in the 70s. When you live in an age of information abundance, attention is a scarce resource. And it's so true. He came up with that in the 70s. What would that guy say now? But you can either get more attention, okay, more eyeballs, more emails, more social followers, more eyes to your art, or you can get more out of the attention that you do have, right? And that's the whole idea between the Rolling Stones selling merch at a concert or, the museum having a gift shop. It's like there is a thing called AOV, average order value. And if I go to your site, Sage, and I buy one of those original tapestries for $1,200, and on the way out, you hit the gift shop and you get me on a couple more pillows, instead of $1,200, your AOV is $1,450 or $1,460. What did you do in that situation? I was going to buy an original anyway, but now you've increased the AOV to $1,420, right? Like the the famous lesson that they teach you in the marketing books is, you want fries with that? You used to walk into McDonald's and you would just get a burger. You want fries with that, right? Like, what else can I add to it? So, you know,
Of course you do.
yeah, exactly. Of course I do. I know how damn hard it is to make it as an artist or photographer. And so, like, one of the primary things that we are focused on in these like coming years is giving you guys as many revenue opportunities as possible, right? Like, having the different revenue opportunities really spreads things out. And let's say I go to your store, Sage, and your prints start at $250 and your original is up at $5,000. Like, you can't ignore the $0 to $250 price points. You have to have those in there ready to go, because guess what? The easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. And some don't have a bunch of wall space right now, but they love what you're doing, right? And so they'll get a t-shirt or a puzzle or, you know, the greeting cards, and they'll buy that now. And then 2 years from now, what are they going to do? They moved out of their little apartment out to the countryside and they have white wall space. Who are they going to call, right? That's the game. That's the game. And so, you know, having the price point diversity in your store, having some $10 to $100 items in the store, and then having some $250, and then having the $500, and then having the $5,000, and then even having the $50,000, we can get into that later, why I think that's a thing, is so important. And once you do, you you're in a better position to get more out of the attention that you do have, which is the scarcest resource, right? It's like that, you know, the analogy I always give is that we all have to learn to be cactuses. And why do I mean cactus? Like, a cactus sits there in the desert where the scarcest thing in the world is water, and yet it's capable of watering out of the air, right? Like, and all the crazy things that a cactus does. Like, that is the path to a sustainable, a thriving art business. And we all need to be thinking about that all the time. So in your case, like, yeah, originals, then you get commissions going on the site, and then you've got all the prints, and you've got all the prints in the various different media types, which I guarantee you don't have right now. And then you're able to add in the merch right away. Like, I used to walk into Sage's store and there was a couple of things on the wall and that was it. Now I walk into Sage's store, there's a couple of things on the wall and there's like 5 different little racks of aisles I can go down with products on it. You're going to end up selling more, right? So anyway,
Yeah.
You got me ranting on it, but that's what I think.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
my
you.
pleasure. Ken is old school with the old school hand raise. I got you, Ken. I appreciate it. You'll have to unmute though, Ken. It's just move your mouse down to the bottom, and then it's like literally the mic icon. It'll be in the bottom left-hand corner. And then I see your hand too, Mark. I'll get you next. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm in the process of going to be opening a photography gallery, a physical gallery.
Okay, cool.
And I'll probably be representing, 6 or 8 different photographers.
Okay.
And they're not going to want to have me ship prints that somebody else makes. They want to ship original prints, which I can ship from my own facility.
Yes.
You can handle that. My question is basically, how do you create eyeballs looking at the website? And that's the basic question. And can you handle a gallery as well as an individual person?
Yeah, the gallery individual is easy. I mean, 2 seconds. You can start out being the one, morph to the other, go back to the original. That's not a problem at all. And then how do we get eyeballs? We teach you to market all year long. Literally, the Art Business University is the easiest concept to think. There are classes week in and week out for life. For life. There is support week in and week out for life. We are constantly creating new playbooks that teach you how to do the various different facets of digital marketing it takes to drive that attention, and we don't ever stop doing that. It's the whole ball game. It's the whole ball game for everyone. And you know what's interesting about it is, again, I've been doing this a long time, right? And I've done digital marketing in a whole bunch of different capacities, and selling art and photography is not like selling other stuff. There's, getting attention. Yes. Getting attention is important, right? Like, everyone needs to learn how to do that. There are some basic functions there that apply to every single solitary industry, but there is a lot of nuance and tradecraft that goes into the art aspect that we're good at. So we teach you that nonstop. The easiest way to think about it, no joke, full stop, is it is an art business university that once you enroll, there are never any graduates, because the learning literally never stops. It just keeps going and going and going. And, the digital marketing landscape, again, it's changing so quickly, right? It's like impossible to keep up with. It's impossible I will make like a 27 video tutorial, okay, for our customers on how to run Facebook and Instagram ads to warm traffic, okay? By the time I'm done with the tutorial, the damn thing is out of date. Like literally the next day, somebody will go and they'll look at it and they'll be like, there's been some updates to the interface that are not appearing in your video. And it's just like, oh, do you have any idea how long that took me? So, you know, that is also a secret sauce of what we're doing, in the sense that, like, you know, everything is just changing and moving so quickly. And, you know, if we were fishermen, commercial fishermen, you have to take your boat to where the fish are, right? And guess what? That changes from time to time. And so we're very, very good at those marketing techniques and tactics, and it'll be fantastic. Now, to you, Ken, as a final, I have to kind of go back to what I was saying. Was it Linda? If you start that gallery, okay, and you're the one that is coming onto our sessions on a week in, week out basis, you're the one that's sending the emails, you're the one that's running the email campaigns, there better be like a gallery level relationship with those artists, you know, not just a, you know, like the 10% and they keep all the information, because that's not helpful to you, right? Because you're going to be the one doing all the work, doing all the grinding. That being said, there are some advantages in the sense that you're covering, you know, the store is bigger, right? So once you get someone into the store, you want to have more items. So I like it from that side of the coin for sure. But you just got to over communicate with those folks. Like, you know, I'm in here doing all the marketing. What's that?
Because I don't have a website yet, so I haven't. So I should just start with, you can develop my website for me.
Yes, 100%. And you're absolutely going to need it. You know, I love what you're doing, in the sense that I think so many of the traditional galleries are not making it through this thing, right? So, you know, assuming that in every town there's 1,000 people that would have gone to a gallery, well, guess pre-COVID there was 7 galleries. Now there's going to be 2 or 1, because they just couldn't afford to survive it. So there's a great opportunity for that to happen. Number 2, this is the trick question that I always run. What is the best way to sell art or photography? It's a trick question because it's in person, face to face. We all know that, right? Without question, that's the best way to do it. Problem, Ken, you and I are geographically fixed on this planet. We have to sleep, and we're incapable of having 25 conversations concurrently, right? So you have to have the website. You have to have the website. And then, you know, the final like clip. So best way to sell art and photography, face-to-face, in person. For all the aforementioned reasons, you have to have a website. What we're doing right now, live video, represents the step in between. And live video has been around for a long time. But what do I mean? Ken has a show in his new gallery, night 1. Okay, this is just finish my rant here. And you do all the usual dog and pony. You're going to have a bartender. The artist in question has a new series. You're going to blast his list. You're going to promote around town. You're going to try to get as many butts of seats as possible. But guess what you're going to do that's differently? 1, I'm going to teach you how to run live art shows on all the socials, okay? 2, I'm going to make sure that your gallery is properly wired up. And what you're going to do is, the minute that show is done and or during that show, you're going to start the live broadcast. And everyone that is not geographically located in your town is now walking through your gallery via the social media sites, seeing all the pieces. And guess what? Digitally or in person, if they tell you to put that red sticker next to it, that piece is sold, right? So that is a way to do it. In addition to that, let's say that the fears, you really got me fired up on this one, Ken. I'm almost done, and then I'll get you done. You've got people that want to see the art, but they don't want to come in, right? Because, you know, COVID is still a thing. People are going to be battle scarred on this for a while. Ken said, you say to them, no problem. You let me know when you want to do a private showing. I will drive down to the gallery with my laptop, okay? And I will walk you through the pieces and show you personally, Ken. If you like to make any offers, you can totally do that. Better still, your collectors get a look at it before the show actually goes down, right? So there's a lot of games that will teach you to play there that are very sophisticated and very nuanced, and that I think you can leverage to great effect. So that's what I'd say.
Okay, well, I'm going to sign up with you. I like what you're saying.
Yeah, well, we're going to get you completely dialed in, and then I'm going to give you some more trickery on the inside. But congrats, and I do think you're onto something right now, right? Like, it's sort of like you know, the hurricane has come through and cleared off the beach completely, and all the beach bars are out of business. And then, is that a good time to open a beach bar? Yeah, probably a good time to open a beach bar, right? Okay, thank you, Ken. Mark, you're up next. And am I to assume this is Team Craven then?
It is Team Craven.
Okay.
It's Pops and Mama Rose, and we're retired. And
congrats.
I was a businessman, but we're quilters.
Okay.
And we can see making prints of some of the more abstract pieces where improv, not traditional quilting.
Yep.
But art quilts. And so we're exploring how to do it. But some of the questions I have are about shipping costs. How are shipping costs for framed pieces, the POD framed pieces or the wrapped canvas pieces calculated? And should they be calculated into the overall cost of the item or and offer free shipping or otherwise?
Yes.
And so that's a question that I've been trying to grasp, because we can see two delivery points or sources: us for our originals and the POD source for the pieces that are manufactured.
For sure.
And also in that question, does Graphic Dimensions and Gutenberg or whoever is making various products, add-on products, which we see as a great option to get our price points down and get people involved, do they come separately? In other words, from various points of departure to the customer.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to wind that thing backwards. If I forget anything, you can ask me. One, I love the hybrid model because that's one of the rad things that we do is like, we are very laissez-faire capitalism style with our options, right? Like you can do whatever you want. You print, fine. You ship originals. You ship, fine. You want to use your local printer, fine. You want to use us for whatever the services are. So you have all those options. Number two, the reason that we encourage everyone to use our printers, and this is an important point, and especially as it goes to shipping, is printing has become a commodity in today's day and age. Sadly, everyone has the same computers, okay, with the same monitors and the same color correction devices on the monitors. They are using the same printers, the same inks, the same media types, and there is still a little bit of art form in how things are packaged and shipped and chipped and chopped, but no customers know the difference. So fundamentally, one printer is no different than the other printer at all. It's a commodity. What you do get, of course, is a level of service and awesome. But the reason that you go with these big fish, okay, Graphic Dimensions, $40-50 million company, Bay Photo, $40 million, $50 million company, is guess what happens to your UPS rates when you're shipping $40 to $50 million worth of art a year? It is not a price that we can get by walking off the street, right? So that part is awesome. That's how those two operate. If you get an order from Bay Photo or you get an order from Graphic Dimension, they produce 100% of those. Gutenberg, okay, is, and I think this is probably how all of them operate. I'm not 100% sure. And let me take one step back and say, in both the Bay Photo and the Graphic Dimensions case, they ship, they box, they package, they ship. They do a great job, both of them. Your logo gets slapped on the box, on brand, all of that beautiful, right? Gutenberg is essentially just a layer above all of the various different other printers, right? And one printer does the mugs, and that's what they specialize on. And another printer does the pillows, and someone else does the t-shirts. And that's what Gutenberg is not. Gutenberg doesn't have a single solitary printer in their entire facility. They're a software layer on top of it. I think that's how all of them are, to be honest with you, the Printful and whoever else is in that business. So yes, the boxes come differently, right? So that is the case. But that really only becomes a thing if one person orders all of it, right? Like we just added the merch a couple of months ago. Now, my buddy lives in New York, and he's like a photographer by trade that does like the product photography. And so I had to order everything and send it to him. And he's like, dude, what is going on? The boxes just keep coming, right? And it's different boxes, different places, But that won't be an issue because most people are not going to order everything from your store at once. Onesies, twosies, they won't know the difference. But the biggest asset of that model, whether it's the merch or whether it's Bay Photo or whether it's Gutenberg, is POD is huge. No minimums, no inventory. Nothing, right? You're not outlining any capital for anything, right? You get an order, it gets printed, it's shipped, it goes. So those are the things that we're looking for more and more of. What question did I forget? Oh, so good news, bad news, right? Bad news, Amazon. What did Amazon do? Set the expectation that shipping will be free. Those tyrants, okay? Good news, that expectation in our experience does not apply to art, especially on originals. Right? So your question is a complicated one, and there isn't a right answer to it, right? So I know the norm, especially when you buy originals, less so on prints, is the expectation is there that the buyer is going to have to pay something to get it shipped, okay? But I can also say, especially with originals, the more expensive the originals are, people are always going to want to negotiate. So a nice little hostage you have in the negotiation process is the shipping, right? If you've set your prices correctly, which we teach you how to do, then you've already built that cushion in there. And if they don't say anything and they pay for the shipping, fine, done. If they do, you give the shipping as a hostage. Or, again, there's the ability to raise your prices built in for the expected shipping costs, some of which are going to, get hammered on if it goes to Hawaii. But if it's right around your neighborhood, you might actually make a couple of bucks on the shipping. So there is the ability to build in into the pricing the expectation of the shipping being free, right? The good news also about art and photography is it's not a commodity. And you can't be comparison shopped, right? I can't look at your piece and go compare it to the one in my local shop because every art piece is different. It's not like, ooh, they got dial soap here for $2.99. What do they have it down here? Ooh, $2.99 what they're charging for shipping. I'm going to buy it here. So the point is that you can arbitrarily play with your prices, and they can't comparison shop you. So you can build in for those various different things. And I think I answered them all. Did I answer them all? That was a lot of
Yes, you did.
Okay.
And another quick question.
Mm-hmm.
We, as art quilters, have opportunities to visit guilds and also conduct Zoom presentations and things like that, and workshops.
Yeah, love it.
Is there within the website, which we would do with
AS,
to
answer your question, yes.
Would be a link to where they could contact us, or can
all day? Yes, all day.
Okay,
not only that.
Explain that type of thing.
Yeah, not only that. We have such a mixed bag of customers at this point. We have the couple that are like selling more their live painting or live photo retouching classes than they are their own art, right? So we view the whole education product, whatever it is, whether it's Zoom sessions on how to quilt or it's an expose on abstract quilting in America, right? And you're charging money for it. We view those revenue sources as critically important too. So one, not only are we set up to sell any item you want, like, are we set up to sell wall art? Yes, we are. But it's also just an e-commerce shopping cart at the end of the day. You could sell anything. It's no different than any of the rest of them, right? It's a product page, an image, and you don't have to turn on the wall preview tool and the live preview with AR and all the rest of the bells and whistles. It can just be a product in there. So you can do that all day long. And then also, it's not hyperbole when I go back to like the attention is a scarce resource. My job, I literally launched a department within the company this week that's just focusing on, we call it GMV, gross merchandise value, the sum total of whatever is sold on our customers' websites. That is the most important thing possible. I know because attention is so scarce, I need to get to a point where every available revenue source an artist can add, it needs to be built into the software. It needs to be easy. I'll give you an example. We have a photographer, okay? He's prominent. He has 1 million Instagram followers, okay? He's shot from a whole bunch of different TV shows. And while his print business is doing well, he's a guy that gets sent on location. I don't want to say who he is, but he gets sent all over the world. And he sits he's a wildlife guy. Just leave it there. His print business is not as big as it could be. And I'm sitting here having the conversation with him like, dude, you have 1 million Instagram followers, okay? Our job is to figure out how to start generating some revenue off that. So I was like, figure out what class you want to teach, okay? I don't care if it's how you set up your gear bag or how you get in location for the shoots or how you handle different lighting and different moisture, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, and offer that up to your followers, right? Because I can see he's in a case, does he have 1 million Instagram followers? Yeah. Do you know who 850,000 of them are? Other photographers. They're not people that are buying prints and originals, right? They're photographers themselves. And I'm like, let's figure out how we're going to monetize that, right? We need to build a business. So in your part, if you come in and you say, Patrick, we have a ton of followers that are interested in what we know about quilting. I'm going to be like cravens. Figure out what the doggone course is. I don't care what it is. Come up with it. 6 video modules. It's going in the store and let's start selling, right? Because you need as many revenue sources as possible, full stop. Full stop. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. Got me going. All right, Teddy. Teddy Tuttle does. You got
Okay.
you got an art name, Teddy. You got an art name, Teddy Tuttle. It's got a ring to it.
Hello.
Hey.
So I need to get a website, and I've never heard of Stripe, so I need that. So you just need to tell me what to do, and I have a Facebook site, but it's not going to be my old one. I'll get a new one. I have the same friends basically, but I like everything that you're talking about. I love the merchandise. I've been taking photographs since I was age 10. My first role, when I went to develop it, didn't turn out. I was devastated. So I love to take pictures of everything. I take pictures every day. So I'll have to get a camera that has more DPIs on it, I guess.
Dots per inch.
Because I use my cell phone. So the first ones I would like to sell to dorm kids going to school.
Let me ask you, Teddy, have you attempted to sell your art or your photography rather up to this point, or no?
Yes, I have, just in the last few years. And when I sold just a reprint for $40, I was pretty dang excited down in Las Vegas.
That's how it goes. That's how it starts.
Yeah. So I want to get started. I mean, this sounds right up my alley. I've been trying since December 5th to set up an Etsy account, and it has been so tedious. I just can't do it. I advertise that that's where I'll have all my stuff.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. It's just, it kicks me out. It's just annoying. So when you said that you have fulfillment, I love that kind of stuff. I've run a book business in the past. I write children's illustrated stories.
Okay.
I have art up the wazoo. I do art. I haven't really painted anything since 2018, even though I was an art and design major clear back in 1975.
Gotcha.
So,
well, yeah, we can get you dialed in for sure. April will put a link in the chat, and we'll email you after the link to put in a demo. And then when you do that, our outreach team will contact you and then explain all the ins and outs and bells and whistles and everything else. But I'm
well,
sure we can help you.
I've missed about 3 calls since the 17th. I haven't connected yet. So I'm very excited. I have listened to several of your YouTube, your Twitter, and everything. So I have a Twitter account as well.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah. Thank you, Teddy. Appreciate it.
I love you guys. I want to be there. I want to be giving my art to other people because I have comments all the time. I'm sure it's stolen on Facebook every day.
Well, not given. We don't want you giving anything. We want you selling. We want you selling, Teddy. Selling. But yeah, love it. And we'll make sure somebody calls you back. Don't worry. Jeff, are you still on? Yeah, I'm gonna unmute you. What do you know about crypto and art, Jeff? I'm curious. And what do you know specifically about the NFTs and what's your 2 cents on them?
I've been following crypto now for a few years. I talked my brother into investing in a Bitcoin with some of his inheritance money back when it was about $8,000.
Did he hold it?
And I've invested a little bit myself, but I know that I saw what happened with that one piece of art that sold for, I don't know, I think it was half a million through Bitcoin. So I know that could be, something that could be coming into play here as far as forms of payment.
Yes. Yeah. There's been a whole bunch going on about that recently. It's like sort of been the topic du jour in the last couple of weeks. And anytime I subscribe to the shiny object syndrome, right? Like we are very, very cognizant of watching out for shiny objects and making sure that we keep our customers from chasing after shiny objects. Both the CEO and I have long time crypto buyers, holders, super interested in, still hold now, still trade now. So as a CEO. So there's a new thing that's come about, and I'll just tell this story briefly because I want you to check it out. It's really interesting. April, remind me, there's a link to this guy's story on Esquire magazine. Just ping me in Slack to get the link, and then I'll email all you guys afterwards. So I'm going to give the high-level explanation of this. I'm going to do it quickly. A lot of you people are going to be like, what the heck is he talking about? But I'm just fascinated by it, and it's a big topic. It's a big subject. Anyway, we fancy ourselves pioneers. We can't fancy ourselves pioneers if we don't go out and discover these new things. So there is a thing called NFT. It means non-fungible token, okay? And many of you probably have no idea about cryptocurrency, and that's okay. But essentially, it is a cryptographic way of establishing ownership and establishing a contract. And so you can take the ownership of some sort of a digital item, and let's say the Cravens make a digital quilt, and they want to encode this thing onto the blockchain. And so they do. And they put in the contract, anytime this image is resold, the Cravens are entitled to 10% of the sell price. Anytime this image is licensed, the cravings are entitled to 15% of the sales price. So this gets encoded into the blockchain, and the ownership is clear as day, and that's established. And so I can go onto a website and I can buy this quilt. They maintain their ownership and those image rights. Because I bought the thing, get my image rights established. And it's like, okay, well, that's just a legal contract. Who cares? Because it's potentially portending the future of how art could be sold. There's a whole lot of people that are taking a whole lot of interest in it right now. Okay. Right now, it is one of the most single complicated things I've ever seen in my entire life. Do you know what the art buying process doesn't need? Anything that makes it more complicated. This makes it 25 times more complicated, but it's become a big thing because one artist, his name is Beeple, Beeple. This guy's an overnight success. He's been doing computer-generated images one a day for like the last 17 years. In his backyard 3 weeks ago, he had an auction. They were all NFTs. He sold $3.5 million worth of art from his backyard. I'm going to send you an article on this. You can read it. The next day, there is a new social media site called Clubhouse, in which it's like an it's like an audio social network. You'll hear more about that in the future. This artist was in the room. Gary Vaynerchuk was in the room. He's a huge marketer. You might know these names, you might not. The president of Sotheby's was in the room. Okay, the CEO of Artful. Is it Artful or Artsy? I can't remember which. It's one of these big websites that represents artists. And they were all in there with a bunch of artists talking about it. And so it is the topic du jour. In all honesty, I have not seen a more hot button item that has come up in the last, I don't even know, 20 years in the industry. But it's all hyped at this point in time. It doesn't, I don't think it's going to translate instantaneously. And the reason a lot of the art is selling is because a lot of people got into cryptography very, very early on, and they have a tremendous amount of money, and everybody wants to see it become the new monetary system. And as a result, they're talking about it. But just to put a finer point on it, if you look in the chat, he's a customer of ours. We just listed it as an NFT. That is an NFT that you can buy. It's available for sale right now. So we're testing it, Jeff, is the point. Mega aware, mega testing. And we haven't had any customers that have gotten requests, at least on the website. Can I pay with crypto? If they did, we would just say, use your own wallet, give your own address. If there were people banging on the door to use it, we would integrate it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
So this link here is
yeah, check it out. Yeah, it's an NFT of one of our customers. Pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. It was a good session. Really actually enjoyed it. I think there were some great questions. Oh, Russ, you're raising your hand. You got one? I'm going to unmute you, Russ.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, yeah. What about picture framing? Is that something that is
so we offer them, right? What I've found and what sort of the dirty little secret is that, like, over the years, there have been multiple different companies, multiple different people spending millions of dollars trying to solve for how can I sell artwork on my website that includes frames and have that work out? No one's figured it out. So we have it, okay, along with a bunch of others. And while it's great for a merchandising perspective, a visualization perspective, if you're someone that wants to offer the frame shop experience with that many different options, rather than you just said, like, hey, this is a Russ Conlon original. This is the frame I recommend for everyone. So this is the one that I'm selling it with. If you do that, no problem. You can pull it off. If it's open up the frame shop and, an $800 piece becomes $1,600 on something they're looking at digitally, not going to work. Not going to work. It doesn't work. It just doesn't. Doesn't matter whose website you're talking about. So I find that it's really helpful to have there in that one instance, if you're just offering the one or if you're just offering two and that's how you do it, and like that's your style, that's your thing, like that's a Russ Conlon original, all in these frames. But if you're going to offer like the whole thing, you'll find that when people are spending that much money, they'll be like, okay, it's all good. I'm going to wait till it gets to my house and then I'm going to go to my local frame shop. But at least I have the ability to visualize it, right? Which is key. And I do think that helps get the transactions over the line. But we're also starting to see, the new kids on the block don't need frames, right? People love metal. They love acrylic. They love gallery wrapped canvas. And a lot of times those are not going in frames. And so I don't see a ton selling in that capacity either. But that's sort of just my 2 cents on it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Get it.
Okay, Candace, you're up next. Go ahead, Candace.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
I have never built a website.
Okay.
I don't have one currently. I'm curious how hard people find it to build their own.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of depends on like what level of technical acumen you have. But let's not put the horse before the cart. How have you gone about selling your art up till now, or have you tried to sell it?
I have through local shows and online, but not necessarily through a website.
And it's sold well. And let me ask the question more specifically: has it sold to people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, family, friends?
Yes.
Okay. So that's an important test.
Yeah.
So once you pass that one, it's I mean, what kind of level of technical acumen do you have? And let me ask it this way: can you post photos on Facebook without going, "What am I doing?" and pulling your hair out of your head? Okay. Okay. Then it's not that difficult. There's like a little bit of a learning curve, but you know, if we're known for anything, it's our level of support. Like we have round the clock worldwide support that is awesome, and they'll walk you through it. So, you know, are you gonna want to pull your hair out of your head on a couple of places? Perhaps, but you know, that's any website. So, but no, it's not difficult. And everyone, you know, the good news is if you've really never built one, we will remove so many BS things that you would get caught up in otherwise, like things that you just nonsensical that you don't need to worry about. Like you need a logo, you need an about me, you need the work in the description, and you need to get it up. That's it. 14 days or less. Candace Kelsey art is live, and you're back to the most important thing, which is selling.
Okay. Awesome. I have a tiny human that needs me.
Yeah,
so
I've got a couple of those running around too. I understand the
Thank
struggle.
you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, and I think that's it. I'm trying to think what else. Do we have a sale running? I don't know if we have a sale running. I think we do have a sale running, actually. I have to look on the homepage. But I think we have a sale running. I think it runs to the end of the month. I don't know. You'll have to if you're at all interested, get the demo request in, because I know we are doing a sale at this month at some point. I think I should probably figure out what that is. But guys, thanks all for attending. It was a good session today. Enjoyed it. Good questions. Right on time. Oh, Chuck is raising his hand. Someone's saying, do I not see Chuck? Oh, I see it. I didn't have everyone's face on there. Thanks, Juan. Good catch. Chuck, go ahead. You still got to get your mic, Chuck, bottom left.
Okay, my question is, I really only found the website, I think, Saturday.
Okay.
So I am that new to it.
How'd you find us? How'd you find us, by the way? I wouldn't be a marketer if I didn't ask.
You know, I think a Google search.
A Google search. Wow. Okay.
And I actually think it came up through another website that I was on. But
awesome.
Anyway, I guess my question is, I have a website. I've already I talked to someone the other day through, you know, when I asked for the demo, that 15-minute conversation.
Yeah.
So I understand a little of the pricing.
Yes.
Okay. But I guess my question is, I have my website up. It's not the greatest, but it is up there. I sign up with you, then all of a sudden, what happens? Like all these marketing things you're talking about.
Yes.
The amount of friends that I have via email and so forth is not going to improve the minute I sign that contract.
You definitely.
What are you sending me, or where's the link that's giving me more exposure, or is it not going to give me more exposure?
Yeah, sadly, it's not a light switch that you flip and it's just like exposure. But what we do is we teach you how to market all year long, right? And it's through everything. We teach you how to run sales, and there's quite a bit of nuance to sales, right? There's incentive, there's scarcity, so there's a discount, and there's the when the sale ends, there's how to warm up an audience, there's how to run the sale while the sale is running, there's the hand-to-hand combat that emerges, people leaving comments and asking questions, and how to deal with that. There's extending sales. There's how to market regularly on the socials, how to post on the socials, how to post on Facebook, how to post on Instagram, what your Instagram profile needs to look like, what your Facebook profile needs to look like. We teach you how to run live art shows, how to run a live art show on Facebook, how to run a live art show on Facebook and Instagram at the same time, how to do that with your phone, how to do that from your house, how to email market all year long, how to capture email, how to get new leads to your website. That's what we teach you all year long. And so it needs to be done one way or another. Your options are don't do any of it and don't sell any work, pay a marketing agency to do it, or do it with the time that you have available and that you can consistently all year long, and we teach you how to do that.
What, so.
Keep going, don't worry, I'm here.
I guess, but are you saying, when people, okay, so I found you through a Google search.
Yes.
Is there, once I'm on board in art storefronts, is there a flag that's thrown up in the profile so the minute, if someone searches for this type of photography and so forth, art storefronts, Chuck King pops up? Or is it?
Your name would, but the SEO question is like a little bit more of a complicated one. I don't know what kind of photography that you do, but SEO, what you're talking about, search engine optimization. So, making sure if we have Chuck's picture of grapes behind him there, and I search photography of, photographs of grapes, would Chuck King be result number one? No, absolutely not, because that party ended like 15 years ago. We don't even advocate our customers spend even a single solitary minute on SEO. Your name, Chuck King Photography, if I type Chuck King into Google, after a period of months, based on our technology and based on the fact that you properly set everything up, you will be the number one result, assuming your work is not on a bunch of different other websites. But we don't recommend wasting any time whatsoever on SEO, because it lost its arbitrage 18, 20 years ago. Everyone got into the party way early. Now it's like fighting over scraps. It's not worth it. It's not the highest ROI use of your time. So what we teach you to do is build your email list. You email that list regularly. We teach you to build your social following. You're continuing to grow that all year long. And that is where the ROI exists as a result of the market in 2021. That might change in 22 and 23. We'll get there before anyone else does, and then we'll teach you that as well. And it's like any other business. It's going to take you 3 to 5 years to grow anything of serious net worth, right? That's always how it works. So I'd say. So we teach you all year long. You just have to put in the work and do it consistently.
Okay.
And if anyone tells you that there's another way to do it, be wary. It's snake oil, right? Like there's no site that you instantaneously just plug your art into, and there's no a magical SEO agency that you just pay where fish jumped into the boat. If you want to sell direct, which you should, it's have your work in a gallery, and they're responsible for bringing the buyers, and they'll take 50%, and you will get zero information of your potential collectors, such that you can never contact them again on your own, or do the marketing yourself, right? That's sort of the world that we live in today's day and age. Your other option is, upload all of your work to the various different websites, of which there are 10 million images of everything under the sun. And, maybe you get lucky in the algorithm, whether it's Etsy or Redbubble or Fine Art America or any of the other ones. We talk to thousands and thousands and thousands of artists a year, and the sheer number of people that are making anything approaching a decent income from any of those sites is very, very low, right? So we sort of just live in a world where, the artist, the photographer needs to sell direct. It's actually the only venue where you actually control the rules, right? And you need to be building your own attention. And if you do that and you stay at that consistently, you have the ability to build an incredible business where you do control the rules. If you don't, you have a great offline business where you're selling at the shows and you're selling in the galleries, and then a pandemic hits and then everything gets yanked out from underneath you because you don't control any of that, right? So we believe it's the right model. We believe it's the only model that makes any sense. We like the fact that it's a model where the artist keeps 100% of what they actually do, but it takes time. It takes time, Chuck. And ask yourself, how much traffic are you getting to the website that you have now, right?
No.
None. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, this is relatively, it's a new aspect for me. I mean, part of it is the pandemic. I mean, I retired early.
Got it.
Yeah. And so I still have to, wife says I still have to work, so I'd rather do this. But yeah. I lost my train of thought. So, okay. So with your marketing, are you telling us or offering us suggestions how to increase that email list or our email contact list?
Yes. Just the easiest way to think about it is it's like going to college for marketing. There are classes, there are textbooks, there are in-person teaching, You can go to office hours to get the support, and that happens 6 days a week for perpetuity that you're a customer, because it's the biggest problem. So, you know, if you want to grow this thing into a business, one, you have to have the perspective of how long it's going to take. It's not going to happen overnight, especially because you're starting from scratch. You don't have a huge Instagram following. You don't have a huge Facebook following. You don't have 10,000 people on a list, right? But that's okay, right? That's where it starts. And you start in on active marketing, and we teach you how to do everything, how to grow the list. Yes. How to grow your social following, like all of the aspects of running a business. We teach you all year long.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, you said something, and that I think that's my biggest fear. You said, you know, a snake oil salesman.
Yes.
I'm the type that is always very, 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 very leery of anything like this.
Yeah.
And any other organization thinking that exact same thing, that somebody's selling me snake oil down the line.
Yeah. So I'll give you a couple of things on that. I love that you're skeptical. The larger point is, if anyone tells you that it's going to be easy, if anyone tells you that they're going to guarantee the return on your investment in 3 months' time, if anyone tells you you're going to have a huge business after a year, if anyone tells you you're not going to have to do any work, be very wary, extremely wary. Just by virtue of the fact that I'm telling you you're going to have to bust your ass to make this happen, should disarm you a little bit anyway. That's number one. Number two, go to the Facebook page. This is an awesome hack in just general, in life in general, by the way. Go to the Facebook page for art storefronts. Go to the reviews section. Look at that list, right? There's person after person after person. Because Facebook is so awesome, okay, you can go and click any of those names. You can send them a message, and instantaneously they get notified that you send a message. It's sort of like, you know, like what if we could go on to Amazon, right, and look at the product on Amazon, and then look at the reviews on Amazon, and then see the positive and the negatives, and send somebody a message on the negatives and say, hey, why did you not like this product? I was going to buy it. That's what Facebook page can do. It's amazing, right? So send those people some questions and say, how long have you been on this platform? What are you learning? What do you like? What do you think about it? Like, by all means, don't you know, leap and have that worry or that doubt in the slightest. I don't want you to even contemplate that. Like, definitely do your homework. Do your homework for sure. You'll find you'll find that I'm the antithesis of a snake oil salesman. Is what I'm saying. But again, don't take my word for it, because how would you know? How would you know? I could be.
Yeah, I would be the last on the leap.
Yeah.
I would be the last on the leap into anything.
Yeah. And you just found out about us on Saturday, so you definitely got to do some homework. But you'll let's just say I'm comfortable to see what you find out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Awesome. Really good questions today. Great session. We will email you guys right after the fact with all the links that we mentioned, anything to take a look at. That definitely, yeah, especially you, Jeff, you got to read that that Esquire thing. And I'm going to send that to April right now. It's so crazy fascinating. We live in just an amazing time. But we'll send you everything. They'll have links for everything. And then one of the things that I recommend, and you know, you especially, Tony, is like subscribe to our YouTube channel. And April will send it to you guys after the fact. All of the content is free. It's like the latest and greatest, and we go live a whole bunch. And so you can even pop onto these things anytime you want and ask questions, whether it's me or whether someone on my marketing team presenting. And, you know, it's the latest and greatest and the best stuff. And there's a whole bunch. I mean, we give the farm away in terms of a lot of marketing techniques because we know that the vast majority just won't follow and won't take action. So there you go. They're there. They're awesome. Thanks a lot. That was a blast. And yeah, hope to see you guys again, either on a future call or on the inside. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.